everyone. How are you today? What's new? I haven't seen you for the whole week. First, let's check that you can hear me well and you can see me well. I'm also checking it on my phone that everything is fine and everything is perfect. Okay, and let me know in the chat if you can hear me well, if you can see me well. Today we are talking about mistakes and actually we are fixing them, of course, with my explanation. We are not going to simply fix mistakes and that's it. Yeah. Okay, good. Hello, Sylvan. Good. Sound is fine. Perfect. How are you today? Let me know how you are today. How has your week been? All right. Okay, waiting for your answers. How has your week been? If you're new here, welcome to English with Speaker. My name is Tanya. I'm a non-native English teacher and I'm here to help you with your English. So come in, say hello in the chat, and if you're new, tell me where you are from. Or maybe you're traveling, so where are you watching from? What are you watching from? What's new? Okay. All right. Waiting for your answers. So far, I'm not getting any. The weekend was great. Went to the flea market. Good. So how was the flea market? Did you get anything for yourself? What did you get at the flea market? I hope the weather was fine too, because I think I remember that you told me that you were that you were going to go, but you were not sure because of the weather. Am I right? I hope that I'm not mixing any details about that. Because I think I remember. Okay, just opened myself. Opened myself in a browser because for some reason I don't see the chat in my software, in my application today. That's why I had to open. I had to open a browser. Okay. Okay. Good. Oh, it's even in plural. Went to flea markets. Wow. Okay. Yes, the weather was good. The forecast was wrong. All right. All right. Self-development. Hello. Well, self-development has joined, so I think we can start. Oh wow, Tatiana. Hello. Actually, my full name, and according to my passport, my name is Tatiana, but I go by Tanya because it is easier for many people to pronounce, and I think um, I made that decision maybe like, oh my God, 8 years ago. I mean, everyone in the family calls me Tanya. My friends call me Tanya. And when I started teaching abroad, I found out that Tanya was easier to say. So, hello, self-development and Tatiana. Where are you from? Where are you from? Okay, so while you're writing, I'm going to tell you what we are doing today. So we are going to fix your English mistakes live. We are playing a game where I give you a sentence that someone might say, and it has a common error, and your job is to correct it in the chat. So for every mistake, for every mistake we fix together, I will give you a tip on connected speech, fluency, and pronunciation. So I hope that you are ready to improve. Yeah, I hope that you are ready to improve and play this game with me. So let's go. Okay, let's go. Oh, for the newcomers, sometimes my software loses the connection with the presentation. So sometimes I switch it to, it's actually just a black screen, but don't worry, it happens sometimes, but it's okay. Don't be shy, write your answers in the chat. Wrong answers, right answers, doesn't matter. We are learning here, yeah? It's correcting mistakes. It's actually a great learning opportunity because you start noticing them, you start seeing them in real life. Okay, so the first sentence, I did a big mistake when I was speaking. What is the problem here? I did a big mistake when I was speaking. So take a look. This is one of the most common vocabulary mistakes, and I hear it a lot. So what is wrong with this sentence? How do you correct it? Type the full correct sentence in the chat now. Waiting for your answers. Made, not did. Okay, good. Okay, any other ideas? Or does everyone agree with self-development? I made a mistake. All right. Yes, you are right. Of course, we need made. Yeah. In English, we say make a mistake. I made a big mistake when I was speaking. So this is a key collocation. Yes. This is a key collocation. We can also say make a mistake, make a decision, make a phone call. I'm sure that you know that there are many more expressions with make. There is a rule actually, but there are also some exceptions. If you're interested, we can have a whole separate lesson about that. But now we're not going to go into the details. So far, let's remember this set expression, make a mistake. Now, let's learn how to say this like a native speaker. We don't say made a, we don't separate the words. We connect them. And so what we get is made. I made a big mistake. I made a big mistake. Then mistake and when also connects. Yeah, mistake and when also connect. And we get mistaken. Yeah, I made a big mistake when. I made a big mistake when. Mistake when. Okay, good. Connected speech is very important. If you want to sound fluent, connected speech is very important. All right, we are moving on to the next mistake. One of my best friend live in Australia. This is challenge number 2. Yeah, this grammar mistake is very, very tricky, and even advanced students make it when they speak. So what needs to change? Yeah, there might be, by the way, there might be more than one thing. Yeah, there might be more than one thing. So put your corrections in the chat. Put your corrections in the chat. I'm going to have a sip of water. One of my best friends live in Australia. One of my best friends lives in Australia. So are you Slavic? I am. Lives in Australia. Lives. Okay. And as self-development noticed, we also need one of my best friends lives in Australia. One of my best friends lives in Australia. Yeah, this is a two-part correction. First, of, we actually pronounce it as v, one of, yeah. First, one of means you are selecting one from a larger group. That's why we need friends. One of my friends. So this group must be plural. But here's the tricky part. The subject is one, not friends. So one is singular. This means that the verb must be singular. Lives. Lives. One of my best friends lives. One of my best friends lives. Yeah. Let's talk about the s sounds when we speak. So in friends and lives, both sound like a z. Friends, lives. When we say it fast, the sounds link together. Although it's a little bit difficult here because we have a consonant cluster. We have many consonants here. M, d, z, l. Friends lives in. Friends lives in. Here it is quite hard to connect. Like you gotta be fast. But then lives in. Here it is easy to connect because after sound z, we get I, in. Lives in Australia. But if you practice enough, your speech will become very smooth, especially like when there are consonant clusters. Okay, and remember one of my best friends lives in Australia. Okay, next one, and this. First, I want you to pay attention to the situation. Imagine you're speaking to your professor after class. You want to ask for help, and a student might say this: "Hey, I need some help with the homework." I must say that this is grammatically okay, but it is very direct and informal. It might sound a little rude. After all, you're talking to a professor, to a teacher. So how could you say this more politely and formally? We need a more polite and formal version of this one. What polite phrase could you use at the beginning? Yeah, instead of "Hey, I need some..." How would you say it more politely? Waiting for your answers, waiting for your ideas. What are your ideas? What do you have there? Okay. Think of a more formal way. Could you please help me with the homework? Good. Perfect. Any other ideas? Sorry, could you help me with the homework? Okay. Very nice. Very nice ideas. Yes, it's perfect. I will give you one more idea. Yeah. Excuse me, professor. I was wondering if you could help me with the homework. Yeah. So this part, "I was wondering if you could," is a secret weapon for polite speaking. If you want to sound really polite, your options are also polite. But if you want to be over the top polite, then you can use this. "I was wondering if you could." Yeah. So you also need to notice the intonation. "I was wondering if you could." Yeah, you go up and then at the end you go down. I was wondering if you could. I was wondering if you could. Yeah, then if you could help me. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's level it up. Again, you have a situation. You need to speak to your manager to ask for a day off. Oh, Dimitri, hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream. Um, so, you need to speak to your manager to ask for a day off. Some people may think of, hey boss, hey boss, I want Friday off. I want Friday off. Again, this is too direct. It sounds more like a demand, not a request. So, how do we... Sorry if you heard some noise, that is the dog jumping from the sofa. So, how do we transform this into a professional, polite, spoken request? Yeah? Think about the first thing you would say to get your boss's attention. And the phrase you would use instead of I want. I want. Yeah, it's very direct. So let's make it more formal. Let's make it more formal. What ideas do you have? Let me see. Let me see how polite you can be. Yeah, because I think like starting with hey boss is also not okay. Too informal. I think under some circumstances, it can also get you fired. Yeah. I was wondering if you would accept my request for taking Friday off. Wow. Wow, that is super polite and so professional. This is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. Any other ideas? Yeah, but that is super polite. Great, great. Yeah, I have this one. Excuse me, do you have a moment? I would like to request this Friday off if that's possible. I would like to request this Friday off if that's possible. Yeah, so let's break it down. Let's break this polite power phrase down. The opener, excuse me, do you have a moment? It shows respect for their time. And everyone loves to be respected, right? So we need to show that respect to the boss, that we respect their time, we know that they're super busy, and so on. And then the next one, I would like to request, is so much more professional that I want. Yeah. But still it is strict. So we need to make it a little bit softer. Yeah, we need to push, but in a soft way. That's why we add if that's possible. This little phrase at the end shows you're flexible and that it's a request, not a command. So this is how you speak with professional fluency. This is how you speak with professional fluency. This is a really nice phrase. And that one too, I was wondering if you would, and I would like to request something if that's possible. Yeah, it's important to add this softness, like you still request something, yeah, and don't command. All right, next one, we are back to grammar. Yeah, so someone might ask you, can you give me an advice? And I hear this all the time. So what is the mistake here? What is the mistake here? Let's see. You know, now after like the first four mistakes that we have corrected already, I'm sure that it is easy breezy lemon squeezy for you. Like a walk in the park or a piece of cake. Okay, so what are your ideas? Can you give me an advice? If that is that even correct? Can you give me an with an S? Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see, you mean, do you want me to show the answer? Could you please advise me All right. So I see that you changed advice with a C to advise as a verb. When we write advise with an S, it is a verb. So we cannot say, can you give me an advice with an S? Then could you please advise me? That's good. Then could you please advise me on something? We need a preposition on and then something. We need an object. So, or could you please give me an advice? Okay, okay. Please give me advice. That's right. We don't need any article. Yes, the word advice is an uncountable noun in English, like water, music, or information. So we can say only, can you give me some advice? Some advice. There is another one. Can you give me a piece of advice? A piece of advice is actually like one. When you need just one piece of advice, and some advice might be several. My bad. No worries, it's okay. You just learned something new. That's all good. That's all good. Yeah, so can you give me some advice or can you give me a piece of advice? Yeah. If we talk about fluency, yeah, if we want to make it more natural, fast, and spoken, then we are focusing on can you. We don't say you, we say can you, can you, can you give me, can you give me. You can say gimme, or you can say give me, give me, give me. But this v is very subtle. Like you barely notice it. That's why sometimes you may hear it as gimme, gimme. But I personally say, can you give me, give me, give me. Like when I speak, you can hear v sound. I don't know. I didn't get this habit of saying gimme. But I got the pattern of saying gonna instead of going to. So it totally depends on you, the way you want to say it. Can you give me a piece of advice? Give me a piece of advice. Yeah. Can you give me a piece of advice? All right. All right. And the next one, this one. I'm very boring in this class. I'm very boring in this class. This is our final sentence. But be careful with it. Because if you say this, you're saying that you are a boring person. And you're not boring. We know that. So how do you fix this to say how you feel? What do you need to do? What do you need to do to fix it and to show your emotions? And not to say that you are a boring person. I'm bored in this class. I'm very bored in this class. Yes, yes. Perfect, perfect. Of course. You need to say I'm very bored. I'm very bored. The simple rule for speaking, ing, boring, interesting, exciting, amazing, yeah, describes the thing that causes that feeling. And ed describes the feelings you have. Yeah. So the movie was exciting. And I was excited. I was excited. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Good. Actually, this is the end of our game today. This is the end of our game today. You were all really incredible. Thank you so much for your participation. Amazing job done. I hope that you maybe revised something, maybe learned something new, practiced a little bit more. Once again, noticing mistakes is a very important skill. Yes, I'm bored because you are boring. Yes, that's right. So practicing noticing these mistakes and mistakes in general is a very important skill that doesn't mean that you have to correct other people. I mean, only if they ask. but generally don't correct other people. This skill is very important for you and very useful for you because this is one of the ways of improving your English language. Okay. Um, Good. All right. Do you have any questions? Let's give it 2 or 3 minutes. I will answer any questions that you have. Thanks. Welcome. Welcome and join my live streams every Tuesday. Forgot the day. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Budapest time. Hope you have deleted the hateful comments and moved on. Like I told you, it's about accent. Yeah, I think I processed that. I processed that, and I'm actually fine. Um, I went through some articles. I read some things. I calmed down, and it's all okay. It's all good now. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Then I'll see you next time. By the way, below this live stream, you can also leave me your ideas, like what you want me to teach you during these live streams, because as you know, I can teach you different things. So we can talk about grammar, we can talk about vocabulary, maybe speaking, as we did for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, we were talking about small talks. Yeah, and I gave you different useful phrases. So let me know what you are interested in, and I'll see you next time.